AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. We are live today from Marucci Hitter's house here on Segan, and thrilled to have you aboard with us. Been a busy show already. Will Helmers was here in hour 1. Jake Madison just a bit ago. Muse caught up with Seth Dardar earlier today. You'll hear that conversation bottom of this hour, the Kansas State transfer. Had a window to chat earlier today, so Muse was able to catch up with him. Excited to hear that. Remember, we talked to Seth on the show when he transferred. If you don't remember his story, young guy from the North Shore, and when he went into, it was at Kansas State, when he went in the portal, he told us back when he committed to LSU or signed with LSU out of the portal, like he went into the portal specifically wanting a call from LSU. Like that was it. It was the only place he was leaving for. Jay Johnson made the offer. Dardar had a really rough fall, but he has been raking so far here in the preseason work, and very excited to see how he looks this weekend when the Tigers hit the field. Remember, it's a 4-game weekend against Milwaukee, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So, you know, the Tigers will get out there. Jay Johnson's going to meet with reporters tomorrow on Thursday. I don't suspect Jay is going to announce a rotation. He just doesn't. He can do whatever he wants. It's fine. I think we're all expecting that it'll be Evans, Moore, Schmidt, and then they'll determine the game 4 starter based on however the first 3 games go. Maybe it's Cooper Williams, maybe it's Zach Cowan, maybe something cool never even heard of before. I don't. It's going to depend largely on that, and then they have the day off on Tuesday, and then play again Wednesday before they go for the tournament in Florida. So they got a lot of ball coming up here in the opening weekend, but it's getting started. We're excited about it. So that Seth Dardar is part of that platoon at second base. So we're going to see him at second. You'll see Tanner Reeves over there, likely Braden Simpson. I'll be interested to see if a guy like Jack Ruckert gets some play. You have 4 games to play, a lot of guys are going to get innings and the opportunity to get out there. So we'll start to get a look at it. So again, Seth Dardar here at the bottom of the hour. Glad you're hanging out with us here. Hump Day Show is brought to you by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Thanks for being here. The NFL Combine invitee list is out. 11 former LSU Tigers have been invited to the Pro Football Combine. Awesome to see this. 6 on offense, 5 on defense there at the Combine. We ran through them already, but Nuss, Aaron Anderson, Berrien Brown, Chris Hilton, Xavier Thomas, Bauer Sharp on offense. Patrick Payton, Jack Pyburn, Harold Perkins, Mansour Delane, A.J. Halsey on defense. The 11 LSU Tigers tied for the 3rd most invitations by one school. A&M had 13, Bama had 12, LSU and Ohio State 11 each. So LSU's going to have a pretty heavy presence there at the Combine in Indy coming up here later this month. But the most interesting guy to keep an eye on, of course, is going to be Garrett Nussmeier. And it's not necessarily that we're just interested in Nuss because he's the LSU guy. This is something we've talked about quite a bit throughout this pre-draft process, is that Garrett Nussmeier may end up being the most interesting prospect in this draft. I don't think that's hyperbole. I don't think I'm speaking out of turn. He plays the most important position in organized team sports. This is a draft where there is generally considered to be a dearth of viable quarterback talent. Fernando Mendoza is going to be the first pick. There's no real consensus on who's the next best quarterback in this draft. It was going to be Dante Moore, but Oregon backed up the Brinks truck, paid reportedly $7 million to keep him there. So Dante Moore no longer in this draft. Is it Ty Simpson, who for a chunk of the season was really good, but was very bad in the final month? Nuss, who was great in 2024, really struggled this season in 2025 due to whatever limitation, the core thing he talked about, however they define that. But now could be ascending. And then after that, like, who is it? Like, is it Diego Pavia? I mean, does Trinidad Chambliss find his way into the draft? I don't know. So it's interesting, to see how this may all go. So the fact that Nussmeier went to the Senior Bowl and performed the way that he did has obviously and clearly gotten a lot of people's attention. And Mel Kiper, who puts out his big board, again, the big board is not a mock draft. It is a ranking of the top players in the draft, 1 to 25, and then he does his positional rankings. And Garrett Nussmeier, who before the Senior Bowl was 8th on this list, is now up to 5th. Now, that's just one man's opinion in Mel Kiper, but the way he has the quarterbacks are Mendoza, Simpson, Trinidad Chambliss, number 3, who, remember, I and I think many are expecting Trinidad Chambliss is going to play college football again next year. Now, the NCAA is not going to grant him a waiver, but he's going to go to court. Tom Mars is his attorney. They're going to apply for and probably be granted a TRO, a temporary restraining order, and he's going to play. Same thing with Xavier Watts this past year when he transferred from Wisconsin to Miami and played the whole season under a TRO. It's what got Charles Bediako eligible recently for Alabama. Now another judge has stepped in and nixed that, so he's not eligible anymore, but I digress. Drew Aller from Penn State 4, then Nuss 5, followed by Carson Beck, Cole Payton from North Dakota State, Cade Klubnik from Clemson, Taylon Green from Arkansas, then Luke Altmaier from Illinois, who also played in the Senior Bowl. The others who are just outside, Sawyer Robertson, Diego Pavia, Joe Fagnano from UConn, and then Jacob Clark from Missouri State. So Kiper has Nuss the 5th best quarterback in the draft right now. If Chambliss is out of the draft, that would bump him up to the 4th best quarterback in this draft. And I'm not so sure that every team in the NFL is going to rate Nussmeier behind Drew Aller. And then it's going to be even more imperative. Like, I will be fascinated to see what this looks like after the combine. Because the most, say it every year, so this isn't anything new. If you listen a lot for any length of time, you've heard me say it. The most important part of the combine, interview, medical. That's it. Most everything else we've seen. And they're sort of football adjacent activities. Like, I don't care how many times you bench 225. For some teams, if a receiver runs a sub 4.40, it's going to knock him up a tick. If a receiver runs, like Keon Coleman ran like a 4.6 or whatever it was, it might have knocked him down a tick. But that's just, it's rare that's going to matter. You're vertical and all. I think Chris Hilton is going to benefit tremendously from the Pajama Olympics, as Mike Detillier called it. He's going to run fast, jump high, do the cone drill. Like, he's going to do all that exceptionally well. And he's going to catch a lot of people's attention because of his athleticism. But for Nussmeier, he's going to go sit down with all these teams, and they're going to see how smart he is. Son of a coach, son of a quarterback. He's going to be able to get on the whiteboard and X and O with the best of them. He is super personable, great leader, 18 jersey and all that stuff. So he's going to communicate exceptionally well with all these teams. So, I mean, that's going to be a giant check mark. And then at the combine, the most important day of the combine is the medical. And all 32 teams can have their doctors yank on your arm and tug on your ankle and twist your hip and look at x-rays and MRIs and everything. And that's going to be the thing that all of these teams are going to be able to look at and say, okay, what we saw 2024, which was outstanding, where you threw for 4,000 yards. What happened in 2025? And he's going to be able to answer that question. They're going to do the medical. And if his answer and the medical are positive and come back affirmative, I think there's a great chance Garrett Nussmeier will be the second quarterback taken in the draft and quite possibly at the back of round 1. That's not just me being an LSU guy saying that. I've relayed this to you a bunch. It just takes one. But last summer, when we were at SEC Media Days, we talked to Drew Fabianich, who's the executive director of the Senior Bowl, and Drew told the off the bench guys this when he did an interview with him. Said there was never a consideration of uninviting Garrett Nussmeier to the Senior Bowl. He said, because I can't unsee 2024. If you're going to hold 2025 against him, fine, you have to credit him for 2024. So bring him here and see. And of course, he looks brilliant for doing that. Nuss looked great, won MVP of the game. And if you look at the previous executive director of the Senior Bowl, who now, by the way, is the GM of the Oklahoma Sooners, told us on AFR that Nussmeier, if he were still in NFL scouting, would have been his first pick in the draft in the 2025 draft, ahead of Cam Ward. So again, it's not to say that that's a unanimous opinion, but it takes one. And there will be others who share that opinion. And so just like there's questions about Ty Simpson and Drew Aller, there's questions about Nussmeier and those other guys. So if Nuss goes and answers to the affirmative, all those things, you could see him quite literally be the biggest riser and biggest beneficiary of Senior Bowl, of Combine, Pro Day, all that stuff. If the medical goes well, if he answers those questions satisfactorily, and you're already seeing it. Just the week at the Senior Bowl, in the eyes of Kiper, he's just one guy, but just that week took Nuss from 8 to 5 on his big board of quarterbacks. And again, if Chambliss isn't in this draft, he's bumped up to 4 behind Ty Simpson and Drew Aller. You could tell me a good week in Indy couldn't flip that. I mean, we all watched Drew Aller play in the national championship game last year. How'd that go? Or in the semifinal last year, how'd that go? You know what I mean? So, in any event, it's going to be fascinating to watch. But Nuss already on the move. All right, y'all, it is After Further Review. Glad to have you hanging out with us here. Hey, we're brought to you by Parish Restoration, parishrestoration.com. I'll tell you every day, kill mold, remove odor, parishrestoration.com, parishrestoration.com. Remediation, sanitization. My goodness, flu is all over the place right now. Drew's got the flu, unfortunately. There were 3 kids in his class last week that had the flu. Earlier this week, I saw there was a school in Baton Rouge that had to close for a day because 40% of the student body had the flu. You want to sanitize your school, your office building, church, doctor's office, whatever, have Parish Restoration come in and spray. And come after hours, spray their patented non-toxic dry fog. They'll close up the windows and the doors. Again, non-toxic, safe for plants and pets and people. They'll close up all the windows and doors. They'll let it settle. It'll dwell. It'll kill everything down to the spores you're back in. Free, clear, clean, sanitize, get rid of mold, odor, harmful pathogens. Parishrestoration.com, parishrestoration.com, parishrestoration.com. All right, y'all, it's After Further Review. LSU infielder Seth Dardar in about 15 minutes. Drew Brees was on new heights. Did you hear this? Drew Brees was on new heights and talked about if he ever considered a comeback. Well, that ship has sailed now. He's going to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But you'll hear that answer when we come back here on AFR.
After Further Review.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. You've been injured in an accident. It's not your fault. Do what injured people in our state have done for 3 decades. Go to getgordon.com, getgordon.com, getgordon.com. Whether it's personal injury, if it's an auto accident, big truck wreck, slip and fall, workers' comp, any type of accidents. And accidents happen. Like sometimes you're in a car wreck and it's not your fault and you are completely inconvenienced. Hopefully you come through it well and safe, but what's it like having to go through days, weeks, months without your vehicle? What's it like if you do get dinged up and you have to go to therapy to help with aching shoulder, back, neck? Well, like all of that is inconvenience caused you by someone else. You are entitled to damages to get your car fixed, to get your life back to normal, to get healthy again. Gordon can help you get what you deserve. GetGordon.com, GetGordon.com. Get Gordon and get it done.
After Further Review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Super Bowl ratings are in. A lot of people watched, as you'd expect, even though the game was whatever it was. It's just the way that it's going to be. The Super Bowl just will always be the most watched event every year. The audience dipped, though, to 124.9 million. A year ago was the all-time record. 127.7 million viewers. This year, 124.9. The thing, however, that I think is the most important thing to remember is now, and by the way, it did set an all-time record. It peaked at 137.8 million in the second quarter when the game was 6-0. But and the halftime show averaged 128.2 million. That was down about 5 million from Kendrick Lamar a year ago. That was a record-setting halftime show at 133.5 million. The numbers probably mean whatever they do to people. It just seems like a big number, and who really cares? I think the most important thing to remember, there's two observations that I have, primarily. Number one is the way that Super Bowl numbers are accumulated now, including streaming numbers, will give us a more accurate representation. And obviously, it's going to be a bigger number because you don't just have terrestrial television accounting. And there are metered markets and there are diary markets, and there's different ways that they go about accounting for that. There's always been, in my opinion, the opinion of many, some discrepancy about how you account for the number of people watching a television. So, for example, if there's a sports bar with 100 people in it, there may be 7 television. Well, there's 100 people watching those 7 televisions. So does it account for 7, or how do you account for the 100? You get it. The other thing that's always interesting to me, people say this all the time. So 100 and, let's call it 100, 130 million people roughly watch the Super Bowl, which means about 200 million people in our country did not watch the Super Bowl. There are more people in our country that did not watch the Super Bowl than did watch the Super Bowl, which is always a great reality check for me as someone who works in sports every day, to remind myself that not everybody cares. More people don't care than do, even though a ton do. And there's more people that care about this one event than any other singular event in our country annually, which is a big old deal. But there's still more people that don't care about the Super Bowl than do. My wife was dressed up in Kansas City Chiefs stuff. She went, I took a picture of her because I was going to share it on social. Just as an illustration to my audience, when I tell you all about Erica, like, I ain't making it up. I mean, she's extra AF. Love her. I mean, light of my life. But like, when I say does not care or know anything, and every time I say she doesn't know anything about sports, she gets really upset when I say that. It's like, I do know stuff about, so like, baby, no, you don't. Like, the Super Bowl's on, you're dressed in Kansas City Chiefs stuff. Like, they didn't even make the playoffs. They're not in the bowl. They didn't make the playoffs. They were poo-poo this year. I mean, Mahomes got a jacked up knee. Kelsey's old and stinks. He gonna retire. I mean, he may play again. Who cares? But anyway, all that to say, there's people like Erica who's just going to go to someone's house for a party, have a little glass of Frank Family Shard and a little dessert board or something like that, and the game's on. But there's way more people in the world that just don't care. But anyway, good numbers there for Super Bowl 60. Next year, they're back in California, Los Angeles next year. Then after Los Angeles, Atlanta. Not too long, though, until we'll be circling back to New Orleans. Can't wait to have it back in New Orleans. New Orleans puts on a show, man. Excited for it. Speaking of putting on a show, how about Supper Club? I like that transition. SupperClubBTR.com, SupperClubBTR.com. If there's ever the definition of putting on a show at dinner, man, Supper Club, they've got that aced. I'm telling you. Have the best meal of your life in an incredible dining experience. So you walk into Supper Club, and by design, like, there's no windows. You walk in, it feels very much like you're walking into like a Vegas nightclub type style. And every detail, don't let that intimidate you, by the way. Every detail was thought of. For example, one of the things that they did, this is just one example, there are no white tablecloths. And that was by design, because sometimes you walk into a restaurant, there's a white tablecloth, it can feel very fancy and maybe intimidating. Like, normally when you get like bread at dinner and there's like 7 different types of butters or whatever, that can be intimidating to people. What knife do I use? So instead of that, they bring French fries. It's those types of details that when you walk in the door, they want you to know that this is an awesome place and it's a ton of fun, but you could let your hair down and have a good time. it's Supper Club, and you can have the best meal of your life. SupperClubBTR.com, SupperClubBTR.com, SupperClubBTR.com. Valentine's Day is coming up this weekend. Y'all are booked solid, but you can still probably get in tonight. Remember, open seating at the bar. You never need a reservation at the bar. 14 bar stools, 7 bar tables in the bar area as well. You try your luck, man. Pop on into Supper Club, maybe early, get lucky, grab a bar stool, have dinner at the bar for Valentine's this weekend. SupperClubBTR.com for your reservations. SupperClubBTR.com. Hey, so the Super Bowl was this weekend. Hey, Drew Brees was a guest on New Heights, speaking of Kelsey. And they covered a little bit of ground with the newly elected Pro Football Hall of Famer, including whether or not Drew Brees ever considered a comeback.
I've had some conversations. and I've had some moments.
Yeah.
I've had some moments. I would say this, like, my body feels great. My mind, sharp as ever.
Yeah.
Shoulder, wrist, not having it.
That's a bummer. This was maybe the most interesting part because he talked about a potential opportunity this year.
There was a moment this year where I was drinking a tequila and something happened where I thought there might be a chance I would play that week. And I literally switched to water and I started thinking about going to bed early and getting up the next day and like getting my body nice and loose and going out and throwing to see if I could even pull it off. And boy, I was like so mentally right and got up, got the body loose, went out there, grabbed the ball, threw a couple. My 13-year-old son was catching for me.
Let's go.
And it was just like, it's not there. I would have been able to like break that glass 10 feet away.
It's so good, man. You could tell that fire burns, and the thing that makes the truly elite ones truly elite is that. And he did say, look, I mean, Brees, even though he's pushing 50, thinks that but for those injuries, he'd probably still be out there.
I really think I'd still be playing if the shoulder and the wrist wouldn't have started to let me down.
Sure.
I started to lose quite a bit of pop, and it's one of those things where you know where to go with the ball, but can I get it from point A to point B in the amount of time that it needs to get there in order to be effective? And unfortunately, that left.
What do they say about Father Time? Undefeated. But Drew Brees, not a bad consolation. He didn't get to pull a Phillip Rivers and come back this year. I love that he admits I was drinking the tequila and immediately switched to water. Hopefully, it was Evermore, Drew. Drink you some Evermore, dog. Hey, you want to get that body right? Get you some hydration. High quality H2O with that Evermore. Louisiana product too. But my biggest takeaway from that, obviously, look, we all saw Phillip Rivers give it a go this year, and Brees might have gotten out there, and Peyton Manning did from 2014, where they won a Super Bowl with him or 2015, where he was just not effective in any way, but on the back of a great defense. But the thing that this is why you hear so many elite level athletes that struggle after they're done when the lights turn off, because they don't know how to turn off the elite level competitor in their body. And a lot of times they switch it to something else in life. And maybe like for Drew, it's business or whatever it may be. But you got a little glimpse into that there listening to Drew Brees talk. If you want to get the full episode on New Heights, you can. That dropped today. All right, it's After Further Review, y'all. We're here at Marucci Hitter's House. Man, such a cool place to come up in here. If your son or daughter plays baseball or softball, you want to play like the pros, you got to find Hitter's House if you've never been here. You can visit Hitter's House, the superstore of the official bats of Major League Baseball, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, New Orleans. Indoor cages, the latest gear, open daily with 24/7 member access. Visit hittershouse.com, hittershouse.com. You don't have to be a member to come in here to shop and to use the cages. But if you are a member, you obviously get great discounts and 24/7, 365 access with your own key card access here off of Segan, Marucci Hitter's House. And, of course, as we mentioned, New Orleans, Lafayette as well. Check them out at hittershouse.com, hittershouse.com. Hitter's House, train like the pros. Speaking of LSU baseball, we are 2 days away, actually right about now, in about 48 hours. They should be wrapping up game number 1 with Milwaukee, which is Algonquin for the good land. Game number 1 should be just about wrapping up 48 hours from now. Seth Dardar will put on the purple and gold for the first time in his LSU career. Muse caught up with Seth earlier today. You'll hear that next on AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by our friends over at Glow Resources. GLO, glowresources.com, glowresources.com. They're complete employer solutions over at Glow Resources. Big hat tip to my buddy Garrett Nussmeier and the great people over at Glow Resources. If you're looking for skilled blue-collar labor, Glow Resources can help. Maybe you're looking for any type of office job. They have their professional placement division, and they can make a move for an employee to a customer when the customer may fall short. The customer is focused on the business. You're a business owner, you're focused on your day-to-day. Glow is focused on hiring for your business. They do 50 interviews a day. That's 15,000 interviews a year. Like, how many interviews do? You may do a lot. It ain't 15,000 in a year. So trust Glow Resources. By the way, they have never, not once ever, had a bad review from an interview. It's Glow Resources. glowresources.com.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
All right, cruising along here in hour number 3. Our Hump Day shows is always brought to you by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness, hormone replacement therapy, ED treatments, peptide therapy. Learn more at yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com. Remember, there's 3 businesses in one. There's the men's clinic, which is Goodwood. There's Unique Physique, which are the GLP-1s. There's Unique Aesthetics and Wellness for female hormone replacement therapy and all the laser and body contouring, Botox, all that. It's all there in one spot on Drusilla in Baton Rouge or online at yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com. Baseball Tigers will open up at the box on Friday afternoon. Seth Dardar, a Louisiana kid transferring into Baton Rouge to LSU, will put on the purple and gold for the first time in the game on Friday. Earlier today, Muse had a chance to catch up with LSU's new transfer infielder.
Seth, glad to have you back on the show again, man. How are you?
I'm good. Thank y'all for having me on.
Absolutely. And the excitement obviously in the air. Tigers looking for another great season. You were on the show with us back in the summer when you signed with LSU out of the transfer portal, which I believe was actually still while the team was playing and on their run to the 8th national championship. So it's been a while since we've talked to you. Just kind of catch us up here before we get too deep. How was the offseason? Where'd you go play summer ball, getting back home at LSU, and up to this point?
Yeah, the offseason went well. It was super nice being home and close to family. I think that might be my favorite part of being back home at Louisiana is eating my mom's home-cooked meals every weekend. But, yeah, the offseason went well. We put in a lot of work. I put in a lot of work individually, but we also put in a lot of work as a team and just preparing for the season. So I think it's safe to say that we're ready.
What's your favorite dish that your mom cooks?
Red beans and rice.
That's solid every Monday night, right? I mean, that's a solid one. You talked about individual improvement. Where have you improved the most here in your first full off season in LSU's program?
I'd say the 2 things I focused on mainly were defense and my pitch selection at the plate. And I put in a lot of work, and I got a lot of help from the coaches and even the guys around me. So I'd say I got a lot better at those things.
It's interesting that you mentioned defense. I wanted to go a little bit deeper there because it's something that Jay has talked about in the media plenty about the vast improvement from you and your fellow transfers on the infield. Seth, it's interesting because I can go back and look at your numbers at Columbia and at Kansas State, and there was a huge jump in your defense and improvement from Columbia just to K-State last season, and you were playing multiple positions on the infield for the Wildcats. What more did you need to work on there? Like, what did you do specifically to kind of take yourself to another step here for LSU?
Yeah, I'd say there was a huge focus on just the fundamentals, like dominating the fundamentals. I think one thing Coach Johnson said was we need to dominate the fundamentals, and our talent will kind of take care of the rest. But, yeah, huge focus on fundamentals, and then also just becoming more athletic. I'd say I was kind of on the bigger side last year, so a lot of focus on like the weight room and my diet and everything, kind of losing a little bit of weight and then putting on some better weight, I'd say. But yeah, those things I think were the main focus.
Talking with LSU infielder Seth Dardar. Of course, you can get him on Twitter, X at @SDardar_. Go ahead, give him a follow as the season gets underway here in just 2 days. Seth, you as I mentioned there, played a lot of different positions at Kansas State on the infield, some first base, some second base. You DH'd. Your primary, if you want to call it that, was second base, and obviously you spent a lot of time at second and third at LSU. Is there a position that you favor more for you that you think better fits your game?
I'd say no. I'd say I'm ready to play whatever position Coach Johnson calls on me for. And, that's kind of what I came here to do, be ready to do anything, wherever it takes to win.
How has that battle at second base gone? I mean, it's been very intriguing to watch. I mean, you, Braden Simpson, Tanner Reeves, even see Trent Caraway get a little bit of action over there, and everybody's kind of had their moments. It looks like it's been pretty highly contested.
Yeah, it's been fun, and I think from, I guess, a lot of the interviews that the guys do, the strength of our team is depth. And so I guess in some programs that might be a detriment, like the competition might make things go a different way. But I'd say for us, like it's really helped us. We're really close as a team, so whoever's out there, I think they're going to have all of our full support, and we're all just here to win. So and we fully trust in, obviously, Coach Johnson. He's the best at what he does. So whoever he puts out there, I think everybody can trust that that's the best to be out there. But then also, like, all the hard work that we've put in together, it really helps you trust everybody around you.
You mentioned the closeness of the team, and look, man, just going out there and watching y'all scrimmage, I mean, that's something that obviously kind of shows through just with the chatter and kind of the ribbing you can hear. I mean, there's a lot of people out there in the stands, but not enough that you can't kind of like hear things out on the field. Just was that something kind of just day one, because they talked a lot last season about the closeness of the team and the right guys on the bus. You coming in, was that something day one that you kind of feel?
Yeah, definitely. And like, team chemistry is something that can't really be forced. I mean, you can take some proactive steps, but I think it's kind of something that happened naturally from day one, like you said, like right when we got here in the summer, like right before we really started kicking things off in September. We had a bunch of get-togethers and stuff like that, and we still do now. So I think it's something that's obviously a strength for our team going into the season.
You mentioned also talking about individual work at the plate, pitch selection, and things of that nature. I mean, it looks like you've had some pretty awesome moments so far in the scrimmages throughout. And obviously, look, I mean, when you faced LSU a year ago, now that's something we talked about with you in the in the summer when you committed. You had some good success against LSU in that tournament out in Frisco. Have you noticed any type of jump with the pitching coming in and your pitch selection at the plate kind of go hand in hand there?
I'd say so, and I think obviously getting to face our pitching staff for the entire fall and the entire like preseason this spring has been like one of the best things for me. I think it's been a crazy challenge because our pitching is kind of the strength of our team, and there's really no breaks. Like, kind of from the places I've came from, we might have a few guys that are kind of lights out, and then when you get deeper into the inner squads, there's some guys that you face that you're like, okay, I'm happy I can get in at bat or two off of I guess some weaker pitching, so to speak. But with our pitching staff, there's really no breaks. So like they say, iron sharpens iron. I think it's been really good for everybody.
Who's been the toughest guy to face?
That's such a hard choice because we have so many good pitchers. I really can name literally everyone on our pitching staff. But I think out of all the pitchers, I'd say William Schmidt has gotten the best of me, I think, the most times.
Okay. All right, look, that's going to be music to a lot of LSU fans here. Everyone's looking at Will to take a big jump. I know he had a great outing last week. Interesting, you went with the righty, man. Interesting, you went with the righty, and I thought for sure you were going to go left on left there because of all the options that LSU has. Seth Dardar is our guest. An LSU infielder. You're going to see him out there at the box over the course of this weekend when the Tigers open up the season. Let's kind of talk that, man. The excitement of opening day, I'm sure, especially for you. I mean, the thing that sticks out from your interview when we had you on in the summer, we talked about going in the portal, and you said you went in the portal for LSU to contact you so you could go there. Now you're here as a Louisiana guy. I mean, what do you think the emotions are going to be when you put on the jersey for the first time going out there on opening day?
I think my emotions are going to be going crazy. It's honestly been hard for me to sleep this entire week. Usually, like, for opening day, it might be a little tough to sleep the night before, but I've already had that since, like, Sunday. So I think it's safe to say I'm pretty excited. Obviously, it's been a dream for me to play here for my entire life. So I'm super excited, just going to try to take in all the moments. But then at the same time, like, I'm going to be out there with a job to do, so trying to focus on the task at hand.
Keep the main thing, right? I mean, I know that's something that that obviously is preached throughout the program. Seth, we appreciate the time, man. Obviously, continued success, continued health, a great season. Hopefully, we can catch up a little bit more down the road, all right?
Yep, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
LSU infielder Seth Dardar, good job, Muse. Appreciate you knocking that out this morning with Seth as the Tigers getting ready for the season opener on Friday against Milwaukee. We're brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020. Want to see 2020? Call 924-2020 for the Williamson Eye Center. Hey, look, great for athletes, obviously. I remember being a kid pitching with I had the Kyle Peterson look, like the specs with the little the band on the back of the neck to keep your glasses on your face. And then ultimately we got the contact lens, but thankfully it took way later in life than I wished it would have, but thankfully I found Dr. Blake Williamson. Knocks my LASIK out, whatever, it's been 7-8 years now. Wish I had done it 7, 8, 10, 20 years before. It's a pretty common refrain you hear from people who have had LASIK. Best decision of my life, best money I ever spent, should have done it years before. If that's you and you're shoving contact lens in your eyes, reaching for those glasses every day, I'm telling you, experience what life is like to be able to wake up in the morning and just see. It's amazing. It's liberating. It's awesome. It's freeing. I've said this many times. People sometimes say, well, LASIK wears off. No, it doesn't. LASIK changes the shape of your eye, so it doesn't wear off. But LASIK only affects about like 10% of your eye. So other parts of your eye can age, so you can have other vision issues that could pop up. But the great news is that with ophthalmology, the way that the profession, the field has advanced, no matter what your refractive issue is, there is an option. I've told Dr. Blake this before, as I age, if I start having other issues, maybe I become nearsighted, whatever the case may be, or farsighted, excuse me. If it's custom lens replacement, if it's PRK, whatever I got to do, like I'm never going back to wearing glasses again. Now I've lived this life without contacts or glasses, never. It's like seeing HD TV, man. Can you imagine after watching HD TV all these years going back to standard def? No shot. It's like when you see those old highlights of old Jefferson Pilot games, like old football games, you're like, how did I ever watch that? That's what life is like now. Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com. All right, y'all, it is After Further Review. Put a button on the show from Marucci Hitter's House. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. Siegen Airline. Come see our friends here. HittersHouse.com, HittersHouse.com. Jimmy will be here for Otter Locks to wrap up the show when we come back. Otter gave us Arkansas last night, laying the 4.5. I told Muse and Paulie after the show, like when we were wrapping up the show, I was like, I should probably bet $1 million on Arkansas. But it's John Calipari, and sometimes Coach Cal can just be a little, you never know sort of thing. I wish I had bet like 4 minutes into that game when it's 8-0, I'm like, I wish I had bet $1 million on this game. Now I don't have $1 million to bet on it, but I wish I did. Okay, what's the Otter got tonight? We'll find out next. Otter Locks, stay here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Let's Rev, R-E-V, letsrev.com. Letsrev.com. If you're in South Louisiana, man, homeowner, business owner, you better get to know Rev. R-E-V, letsrev.com, letsrev.com, letsrev.com. At Rev, they serve 70,000 business and homeowners in South Louisiana. If you do not currently have your internet service with Rev, or if you have cable still, or phone, or home automation, what are you waiting on? It's backed by an all-fiber network, up to 5 gig speeds. Baton Rouge, Gonzales, Prairieville, Plaquemine, Denham, Springfield, Hammond, Ponchatoula, Covington, Mandeville, LaPlace, Reserve, Thibodaux, Houma, LaRose, Grand Isle. Faster, more reliable internet. Speeds up to 5 gigs. The Wi-Fi equipment is included at no additional cost. LetsRev.com.
After Further Review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Down the stretch we come. Final segment here on this Hump Day edition of AFR. We are presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com. Live from Marucci Hitter's house, and we got one thing left to do. Let's find out what we're betting on tonight. It's time for Autolocks.
Autolocks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Total Maintenance AC Repair. Same-day service means you will never sleep hot. 480-1000. We are Total Maintenance.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
Yo, Otter, what up?
What's going on, Matthew?
Hey, man, 4-1 last night. Big night for the Otter. Wish I had bet every bit of my net worth on the Arkansas Razorbacks like I knew I should have, but I'm a moron. I did not bet more on it.
Well, we got. I mean, it's just it's crazy, man.
I know.
I could not believe when I did the math the other day that LSU was 6-4 going into that game in the conference against the spread. I just couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. We got a bunch of picks again for you tonight. Maryland and Iowa, again, 1:40 to go in the first half. The Terrapins, we gave them at plus 11.5. They have a 4-point lead. So a certain middle that you'll have a minute and a half to go now. Maryland up 33-29. Virginia Tech taking the Hokies plus 8.5. They're going to Clemson. They went to Raleigh on Saturday and lost by 9. They covered the 10.5. They slid this line down a little bit from that one, but we're going to take the Hokies. Clemson has a trip Saturday to Durham to take on Duke. Maybe looking ahead a little bit in that one. Grand Canyon has beaten all the big boys at home, and this is their first year in the Mountain West Conference. And they've beaten San Diego State, and they've beaten all the traditional powers. Now New Mexico comes into town, and they're not as good as they usually are. Grand Canyon at home in Phoenix, minus the 1.5. Boston College is near the bottom of the ACC, Matt, but they've covered their last 8 of 10 in the conference. They are much improved, much more competitive than what they were when they played LSU in that ACC-SEC challenge earlier this year. Catching 2.5 at home.
It's up to 3.5.
Trips. 3.5 now. Good.
Let's go.
It was teetering between 2.5 and 3.5. So, yeah, good news. Very good news. So that helps me as well. So chalk early, dogs late. So and then we got an alt-line parlay for you. It's a 3-teamer. It's Michigan minus 5.5, Tennessee money line, A&M money line. It pays plus 105 at DraftKings. That's your Bally's and Queen local outlets.
And they do have a boost tonight on I don't know if it's a same game. I need to check DraftKings if it's a same game parlay or if it's just a multi-team parlay. Let me check. But my apologies. 30% on a three-leg college basketball parlay. So
there you go.
You get your 30% boost on that alt-line parlay tonight. So you get an even better number on it. I'll crunch it and see what it comes out at here.
It might not reach the minimum though, Matt.
Okay.
It's like a plus 300, payout or something like that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's the only thing that you can finesse it to where with Tennessee minus 2.5 or 3.5, A&M minus 2.5. So you can kind of finesse it in to get to that number if you would. I would suggest that with those 3 teams.
Okay. All right. So Maryland, Virginia, that's in game, by the way. Virginia Tech, Grand Canyon, Boston College, which is not on the site, but Otter just gave it here. And then the alt money line parlay, which is Michigan minus 5.5, then Tennessee and Texas A&M on the money line. Where are you tomorrow?
We are at the original walk-on, getting ready for opening day at the box the following day.
Sweet. Tell Dustin and the crew over there hello. And
yes.
All right, man. Thank you, Otter. Have a great show tomorrow, and good luck.
Let's get them. Good luck.
All right, that's Jimmy Ott. It's after further review. I am trying to get this this alt-line parlay to give you the exact number on it. Let me just punch in Texas A&M, and I'll tell you exactly what the number is on it right now. A&M, boom. And the money line, 3-team money line, yes, it comes back at minus 108. So Jimmy's right. That boost doesn't look available right now on that, so you'd have to finagle it a little bit. But come back at -108 if you want to play it right now over at DraftKings. All right, y'all. Been a great show, man. Many thanks, as always, to our friends over here at the Marucci Hitters House. Again, always love telling you as well about our friends. Well, actually, not our friends. Me. I am your friend. And my Parish Construction and Roofing. $25K giveaway. If you haven't signed up yet, do it. No gimmicks, y'all. We are giving someone $25,000 cash. All you got to do is sign up for a free, no-obligation roofing inspection. We've done $5,000, went great. Did $10,000 giveaway twice, went great. We keep upping the ante. Terrio wants to get to $100K. And as long as the numbers keep making sense, we'll keep increasing it. But someone's going to win $25,000. Like, it might as well be you. If you need a roof inspection anyway, let us come inspect your roof. It's easy. Just go to parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. You'll see the splash screen pops up right on the homepage. Parishbuilt.com. It'll take you 20 seconds. Just name, phone number, address, boom, 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 just like that. Boom, you're entered. We'll schedule, do the roof inspection, and you're entered to win $25,000 cash. What? Parishbuilt.com. Okay, y'all, let's get do it for us here from Marucci Hitter's House. Check out hittershouse.com, hittershouse.com. Alondra on site. Great job as always. We appreciate you. Muse, Paulie back in studio. Y'all have an awesome night, and we'll see you back in studio tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, one final reminder, South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online. Say it every day, southpointvw.com, southpointvw.com. Remember, they're Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer. Means they got the best inventory and the best prices. Also, if there's a specific model you want with certain features, they have it. If they don't have it, they get it. Like what color you want, what features you want. Like when Erica got her Atlas, she wanted white Atlas SEL with captain chairs in the middle, tan leather interior, and she wanted the blacked out rims. I have no idea why, but that's what she wanted. South Point Volkswagen got it for her. Like whatever, however specific, they can help you out. South Point Volkswagen. Airline just north of Highland or southpointvw.com, southpointvw.com. Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer is South Point Volkswagen. Southpointvw.com, South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction?